Hey Mathers, I'm here to tell you about the L game. Now, the L game was invented by Edward de Bono as a basis for his 5-day course in strategic thinking. And here's how you play. The board looks like this. Each player has an L-shaped piece, and there are 2 neutral pieces. They start on a 4x4 board on the position shown. 2 L's kind of nested together with the neutral pieces on the opposite corners. And then on your turn, you must move your L piece to a new position. You can rotate it, turn it over, move it around, whatever. As long as the new position is different from the old one and it's not like crooked, it's cleanly occupying 4 spaces. And it can't overlap with any other pieces. And then after you moved your L piece, you can move 1 neutral piece by the same rules. That's the rules. That's it. You win by making your opponent have no valid positions for their L piece. De Bono's goal for this game was to create a game as simple as possible while still having complex strategy and skill required. And it's surprisingly difficult to find a good move in any position, especially given that there are usually hundreds and hundreds of possible moves from each position. The strategy for the L game is delved into deeper in De Bono's book, The L Game Strategic Thinking, the 5-day course in thinking, which is not a great title if you ask me, but whatever, moving on. That's also where I found all the info for this video, and if you want to try the L game out yourself, I have a link down below where you can try it. The reason I chose to discuss this game is because of its deceptive complexity. At a first glance, I thought, how can a game with 4 pieces and a tiny board be the basis for an entire 5-day course in strategic thinking? But at a deeper glance, there's a whole bunch of strategy going on, and there's hundreds and hundreds of possible moves, which is what makes it a good basis for a discovery of mathematical senses. One of the first mathematical discoveries I found was that the game is indeterminate, which means that 2 perfect players could theoretically play it for an infinite amount of time, with no ending to the game. Which makes it distinctly different from a game like NIM, where 1 player can effectively win the game every time as long as they play optimally. So it's indeterminate, which means it's purely based on strategy and skill, because odds are neither of your players are perfect players, and someone's going to make a mistake, which the other player has to capitalize on. Another cool thing is figuring out like the relative strength of each move. So the way it's categorized in the book is there are fatal moves, which let your opponent win on the next turn. There are weak moves, which can lead you into fatal positions. There are neutral moves, which don't benefit either player. And then there are strong moves, which put you in a winning position, maybe even leading to a fatal position for your opponent. So that's kind of cool, isn't it? So what are some pros and cons to doing this with children? Well, on the plus side, the game is really simple. There's like 2 rules. So it's super easy for kids to jump in and start playing, start having fun, start learning about strategy, math, whatever. Also, this game helps teach strategic thinking, but not only that, it teaches insight and critical thinking, as you have to like look ahead to determine the next best possible moves and whatever like that. On the downside, it takes a long time to gain any semblance of skill at this game, so kids might not be able to gain a whole bunch of knowledge in the short time that they have to mess with this. But to offset that downside, it's a super simple game, so all the kids who are like actually interested in it can just go back to their house and recreate it with like pieces of paper. That's it. And that's the video. I really hope you liked it. Maybe you learned a thing or two.